$5 million in an IRA. Roth conversion strategies matter most for those larger retirement account balances. If that's you, you're going to want to listen up.
All right, grab your favorite mug. It's time for Coffee with Your Retirement Coach.
Welcome back to Coffee with Your Retirement Coach. I'm your coach behind the clipboard, Nick Yeomans, and with me, as always, my faithful partner, my companion, my father. How's it going, Randy? In today's episode, we're going to talk all things Roth IRAs for those larger Roth balances. We're going to use $5 million as the example, and we're going to use real numbers so you really understand the impact. $5 million. It could have started in a 401k. It could have been a 457 plan, 403b. It started somewhere. Now it's in a rollover IRA, all before tax. Here's the concern. If you're years away from required minimum distributions, you're talking about big income, big tax bill. If you've been around this channel, you know two of my favorite words, tax-free. Love those words. We have to get you there. Here's the concern. I did the math for you. If we're looking at a $5 million IRA balance growing at a meagerly 6%, now I didn't include fees, I didn't include costs, I didn't include, the broker down the street. We're keeping it simple today. $5 million in an IRA growing at 6%, 10 years from now, that's $9 million. That's a lot of coin. 20 years from now, that's $16 million. Again, that's a large retirement account balance that's never been taxed. And it doesn't matter if you don't need the balance. It doesn't matter. The government makes you take it out through required minimum distributions. That is akin to me saying forced taxation. They make you take it out. And by the way, if you don't take out the right amount, that amount you don't take, it's levied at a 25% penalty. So you've got penalties and taxes. Now follow along because I'm going to break this down even further. On a $9 million balance, if you started taking that first required minimum distribution, you're looking at $340,000 of extra income. And if you don't need it, too bad. You've got to have that as ordinary income on your tax returns, and you've got to pay the piper. You've got to pay the tax bill. We are going to look at bracket management, but let's go a little bit further here because I factored in just a very modest, I'd say upper modest Social Security. Our $340,000 easily gets to about $410,000 of income. Now, that doesn't include if you have pensions or other income sources, but at a 32% marginal income tax bracket, you could see this really adds up. So here's my challenge to you. I'm going to suggest that Roth conversions matter most for these large retirement account balances that have never been taxed. Case in point, let's say you retire in the retirement sweet spot and somewhere between 62 and 65, so we'll call it 63, and we've got a required beginning date, RBD. That's when the government says required minimum distributions must begin. So that age between 63 and 73, you've got a 10-year window to really make some changes in the portfolio. As we look, and we said, you know what? Let's not do anything too radical, but let's do something meaningful. Let's do a $200,000 Roth conversion for 10 years. Now, I'm not assuming that you ended up making any money on that. I'm not doing any of the compound growth. All I'm saying is over a 10-year period of time, you were able to take down your IRA balance from potentially $9 million, now down to $7 million. You now have $2 million tax-free forever. Well, why does that matter? Because that $2 million isn't just tax-free forever. There's no required minimum distributions. It doesn't count as income. It's not going to push up your IRMAA calculations. It's a big deal. At the end of the day, that $2 million, hopefully it grows. And that compound growth over your lifetime means for much more significant tax-free wealth and income for you and a much more tax-free impactful legacy for that next generation. Am I talking to you today? Do you have the $5 million balance? Maybe it's $3 million or $2 million. Maybe it's 7.5 or 10 million. Understand the concept. The important thing that we really understand today is if you have continued growth in your retirement account that's never been taxed, you're compounding a future tax problem. Don't be that guy. Don't be that lady. It is time to take action, and this is hopefully someone's wake-up call. If you're like a lot of people I've talked to, maybe you don't have the 3 to 5 year tax plan. That plan that's put in place to help you relocate assets from being taxed at your highest income tax rates to being tax-free forever. Is that you? Are you working with a guide or a professional, a coach, somebody helping you land the game plan to get more tax-free wealth? I want to encourage you today. Maybe you need a second opinion. If you're working with some kind of financial guru out there today, banker, broker, by the way, brokers make you broker. That's a joke, kind of. If you're working with some kind of financial person and they've never reviewed your tax return, you probably really need a second opinion. Not reviewing a tax return and giving somebody investment advice, I think's a mistake, a big mistake. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And if you don't understand what the tax impact is to your wealth via the direction of retirement income and structuring a retirement portfolio, you're kind of chancing things right now. Find somebody that can understand your tax picture and can help you construct the right position for you. It should be tailored to you. Receiving investment advice and retirement advice without somebody looking at your tax return is just like a doctor who doesn't look at your blood pressure, didn't get the x-ray, didn't do the blood work. They didn't run any of the tests, but they gave you generally accepted penicillin. That's not okay. My opinion, that's malpractice. What do I know? 24 years as your retirement coach, the reality is there's too many people out there. You don't know what you don't know. Find the trusted guide that sees the whole picture that you can trust to help you with that game plan. In the end, tax-free wins. I hope you've been challenged today. I hope you felt encouraged today. The reality is if you live intentional, you can do some really great things. Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for staying coachable.
We hope you enjoyed today's show, but you may have questions for our coaches, and they can be emailed at connect@meritfa.com. If you know someone that needs to hear this episode, we encourage you to share it. As a reminder, the content of this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as advice. Investment advice offered through Merit Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor.